Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Wildman Revolution podcast. Before I get to our today's desk, please, if you're loving the podcast, leave a review. See, we're representing today with the Wildman Revolution t-shirt. So if you want to get your free t-shirt, leave a review, leave a message, and I'll be sure to get one out to you. Check out the podcast on all other platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, depending if you want to watch visual or listen in. And also check out my stuff on all other socials, where you'll get more depth, more insight, and more of a, what would you say? I've already used the word insight many times today, but insight into what is the Wildman Revolution. Without further ado, my following guest is a man doing great things in the world right now. He's in his genius zone in the rehabilitation space. His company is Prism Performance. Dan Henderson, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
Excited. Now, before we get into it, man, we had a bit of fun setting this up today.
Oh, yes, we did.
Our man codes were definitely challenged, but we are stimulated by a challenge. Yeah. You would notice that I've been upgrading a bit of the studio, so to say, but we had real issues. We thought we were all set up with the two mics and everything. We were having tech issues, and then we were having like... I should take a picture of what we've got set up here to get this mic going. But it was really, really good to be able to work together with no frustration, a bit of fun, and go, okay, we've just got to mention this at the start of the podcast. And it is a couple of key things there. Men in our healthy masculine, we're stimulated by a challenge. 100%. Yeah, you'd agree with that. I see it all too often manifest in society that men falter when it comes to a challenge, and they don't go into the stimulated part of it and they'll freak the fuck out or anything like that. But if you've got that knowing that you are stimulated by it and the challenge is something that, okay, I'm a problem solver in my natural way of being, bring it on. Although it was frustrating leading into this, we're here. So
we are.
Anyway, Genius Zone, rehabilitation. Tell the listeners or the viewers a bit about yourself, Dan, and what's brought you into that realm, which is so needed on the planet right now.
Yes. So I started back about 15 years ago now into personal training. I got into personal training because I've always kept myself healthy and fit. Once I'd finished a diploma in acting and stage and theatre, one of my
I did not know that.
Yes,
this is I love the podcast for this reason. I get to listen in and learn more.
So I did 4 years studying acting for stage and screen.
Oh, cool. You should have been a politician.
I should have been. And become a good liar, right? So I did that for 4 years, and then coming out of that, my passion for the industry, it kind of wilted a little bit, and I didn't think it was something that I'd be able to really feel myself and content and happy in doing. I thought it was when I first started, but I didn't quite know what I wanted to do when I first started it. I just thought, I love movies, and that was great. But from there, a classmate said, you're always keeping yourself fit, Dan. You'd be a great personal trainer. Because you're easy to get along with, and you love coaching people, so forth and so on. So I jumped into that space, and not knowing much about it, but studied, got my qualifications, and then jumped into it. And then I started to realize that injury management was something that was becoming quite attractive as a niche for me. And then through playing different sports, weightlifting, so forth and so on, I started to get a few injuries myself. So I'd done my shoulder, I'd done my back, not done my back, but I'd created back pain through sitting too much, lifting too much weight incorrectly. And then obviously the physical sport of rugby had been impacting on my kind of 35, 36-year-old body. And then rehabilitation of my own injuries was something that I had to take on board myself, because I got put into the system, which is you get your GP to refer you for either medication, out to a physio, chiro, so forth and so on. And then they do their work on you and then send you on your way to do your exercises. So I realized pretty quickly that I was spending a lot of money and not getting any result. And so I started to take matters into my own hands and then start studying rehabilitation courses through different providers and also experts within the field, and got more qualified, and then realized that rehabilitation was actually a very rewarding niche in the marketplace for me. And getting those wins and helping people get out of pain after being in pain for such a long time, the reward was huge, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that was enough for me to keep within that niche and keep pushing forward. And after rehabilitating my own back, I found that lower back issues for people was very, very common. And it was something that people were struggling with.
100%. And this is why it's great that you're on the show today, because I know a lot of my listeners, viewers, and the men that I've either worked with or I'm connected to, a lot of them have worked a hard life in the workplace. Whether it is office jobs and corporate, sitting down a lot, or out like building, bricklaying and manual labor stuff. I can absolutely guarantee that probably 9 out of 10 listening or viewing this now have had at some point in their life some back problems. Myself included. And I think I mentioned to you a while back, I was having lower back issues, and it wasn't until I saw a good friend of mine who was a myotherapist, but he did acupuncture and all that. He's like, "Hey man, it's not your back." And then went into it. Never was. And went into it, and it was like some glute troubles and this sort of stuff and some posture things I had going on. And he gave me a bit of a protocol to work on it. And ever since then, it sort of woke me up to go, wait a sec, every time I'm like sore somewhere with my own work and my own discovery of like from pain and trauma and stuff like that, that if there's anything in the back, well, it's generally related to something else.
So it brought an awareness to your body.
It brought an awareness, and it brought the awareness. Also, you mentioned that like you'd go through into the system and things weren't working for you, or you weren't getting a result. That was the same with me. It's like I'd go see a physio, nothing against physios. Got an amazing physio. Check out Dominic Morosini, who's in the rehab space as well, who I've done an interview with. He's only 21, and he discovered that awareness early on in his journey. And same, he's gone into the rehab space. Let's go back to the acting stuff. I'm like curious, man. I'm like really curious. And we will get back into this, but just while you're on that sort of thing, acting, like what was the
driver? So I was 18 and I was in a class at school. 17.
Was it a chick?
No, it was a teacher. It was basically like a class where it was only for, I think it was only 6 or 7 classes, or 6 to 8 classes or something like that. But it was kind of bridging, you're finishing high school now. What's next? And they asked you, if you could do anything on this planet, what would you do? Or what do you love? And I've always loved movies. I've always loved cinema and acting and actors. So I just thought, well, why don't I dive into something that I'm actually passionate about? And just go for it, you know what I mean? And I couldn't find what I needed in Wellington, New Zealand, where I'm originally from. And so Sydney was the next port of call, because they had NIDA, and then they also had the Actors College of Theatre and Television as well. So I applied for both of them. And then I got into NIDA, but you're not allowed to get, at that time I couldn't get HECS. So I couldn't pay for it. It was 30K. So I was like, that's they don't allow you to work either. So that wasn't going to happen.
It's a bit hard.
And had no support. It's a bit harsh for a Kiwi boy who wants to break into the
back to New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. So Actors College of Theatre and Television was the next step. And I was just wanting to explore myself, explore who I am, and I did that big time. It opened up a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about myself. And they said to us at the very first day, you don't know yourself until you get asked the right questions.
Oh, I like that one.
You provide those answers, then you start to really learn. But they dive right deep inside, and they kind of pull out all the demons that you've got, and you emotionally get to a point where you're grounded with yourself, and you get a good understanding of yourself, and then you can start to open up and provide and act as different characters.
It's awesome. I like hearing that. And was that when you moved to Australia and stayed?
Well, not straight away. So I moved here when I was 21, and then I started the acting when I was 24. So I kind of got myself settled in Sydney, got work, and then
awesome. I'm surrounded by Kiwis in my world, and my queen is a Kiwi. Even though you can't really pick up on the accent, you've still got a bit of the accent. I really think Kiwis keep the accent for their whole life, but it shows up in different forms.
Well, when I talk to other Kiwis, like when I start talking to Chi,
you drop into that.
Branch out. So
good. I'm not going to do my Kiwi accent impersonation on this one. I'll wait for another time. But that's really, really cool, because you do come across as a very open person, very well spoken, and I can see maybe that's where probably some of that work would have helped with that early on.
Big time.
And then coming into the field where you're working, I know you're like me, you like face-to-face work.
Yes.
And you would have done a lot of that in your time. PTing. And that how did you find that when you actually started to realize, oh my God, not only have I worked on myself with this, and let's more focus on the back, moving into the rehab part of it, not just the PT. Where did you start to go? Because what you were talking about before felt like mission and purpose sort of talking. It's like I was getting something out of this.
Yes.
When did you first feel that or notice it, like, holy shit, this is like really, really rewarding?
Probably within my first, I suppose, 3 months of starting to take on rehab seriously, because I was doing it on myself as well. And then I was starting to just implement small exercises that were working for me on other people that had back injuries. It was probably about that 3-month mark when I actually got somebody out of pain, and they were like, Dan, it's gone. I'm sitting, I'm standing, I'm moving, I'm walking, I'm exercising, everything. The pain's actually dissipated completely. Thank you. And it was that first thank you. And I was like,
this is cool.
I'm onto something here. You know what I mean? And it was only because they had actually committed to the process that I put in place. They got the result. Like anything in life, you know, if you commit to it and do the work, you get the result.
100%. So, no, that's awesome. And it's good that, because I noticed when I had that first time where I'm like, I had no idea what a coach was. What I thought of a coach was like sport coach or something like that. I had no idea. And I actually, when I'm like, oh, I can be a coach, I got a coach for myself because I had a lot of personal stuff. But I actually went and done my PT thing too. I didn't like the PT stuff. I quit in the end. It didn't resonate because in the meantime, I actually started working with clients and helping with their life stuff. As soon as I helped someone have one breakthrough, it was like this just charge. It was like, wow, this feels so bloody good. This tingles, feels so rewarding. 100%. And it's super addictive in a good way. Do you find that when you're helping clients, it's like this really powerful driver?
That as well. That plus also coaching other trainers. So I was a personal training manager within my 15 years for 4 years. So I was managing a team of anywhere from 25 to 30 trainers. So being able to coach these younger trainers coming through, even some of the more established ones, not only on technical side of things, but the business side of things, how to run your business correctly, and implement things that are going to work for you and streamline your business. I'm getting aha moments that also send tingles through my body.
That's good, isn't it?
It's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm coaching them and they're getting it and they're like, oh, and then they implement and go, they come back and go, Dan, that worked brilliantly. I just picked up a client. Like, thank you for that. You know what I mean? So it's the same feeling. And I love to be able to coach people and, you know, and the training side of things is really exciting for me.
Awesome. And for the listeners and viewers in there, it's a big thing I do see a lot in society at the moment. A lot of men, women, there's a lot of women that tune into this too that are feeling a little bit lost right now, or like they're lacking that drive or that motivation. And why this is powerful, what you're sharing here around like the mission or purpose stuff, or when you first get that feeling of helping someone, even business and all that. I feel a lot of people are not aware that that's what you can get out of like following your purpose, or really knowing that you do have a purpose. And I really encourage people out there and invite them to go, okay, cool. If what do I love helping people with? Or is there something I know I've got a solution for? I might have a bit of shit going on, or the world might be really hard at the moment or whatever, but I promise you, you'll get this like absolute magic coming from the inside when you action that and go, oh, wow, maybe there's something in this. Someone's like,
100%.
Definitely. Again, it's a big thing that the world's missing now, and I think more people honor that.
And I mean, for us, the biggest thing that I figured out was that the system was failing people, whether it comes to shoulders, knees, hips, back, so forth and so on. But the lower back seems to be the most common. So that's an area that really needs to be worked on first, because it's such a big problem, not just in Australia with 4 million Aussies at any one time suffering, but globally, and it's costing countries all the world, you know, billions.
Well, it's costing taxpayers.
It's costing taxpayers. That's
correct. Depends if you want to be a taxpayer, it's costing you.
That's right. That's right. So people, what we realize is that people are lost. They're walking around in pain. They're just dealing with it. You know, and they get some satisfaction depending what they try, so forth and so on. But what it really, really takes is a commitment to yourself. And so what we want to be able to do is give people the tools to enable themselves to be able to handle the pain and deal with the pain when it comes about, or even enough tools to be able to eliminate the pain altogether. But the onus then gets transferred back onto that person, not so much where they're just relying on the system to take care of them. Here's the medication, or here's some visits to a chiro or physio. Good luck. You know what I mean? So what we're trying to do is say, hey, let's have a look at your whole lifestyle, you know, hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise selection, movement, all that sort of stuff. And let's have a look at it as a whole. And how can we improve 1 to 2% throughout your day that you are taking ownership of to be able to help yourself?
100%. You throw in the emotional stuff and everything like there. And the body especially, and this is what I've learned on my journey, the body's always going to give us signs when there's any discomfort or disease or anything like that. That's an indicator to go, oh, I've got to tune into that and get curious. But a lot of us don't know.
No.
No, I didn't know anything till I actually saw a professional who was willing to not fit inside the box and go, hey, this is probably what's going on here. You open to getting a different view on this. And so for people out there too, especially the whole lot that you offer, it's not just, hey, I need a quick fix on my back. I just want the pain to go away. Pain's an indicator. It's all pain is, in my opinion, anyway. 100%. What have you found business with this regard? Like, you've transitioned a lot from face to face and you're going into the online world. How are you finding that transition?
It was tough at first because I'm so used to being active all day, moving weights, working with clientele up and down, you know what I mean? Physically involved all day, every day. I think at one point I looked at my iPhone watch and it was saying that I'd done 24,000 steps in a day. And that's
don't need to train.
Exactly right. So that's just going from 6 a.m. to kind of 7 p.m. at night. And I'm moving around with breaks in between and lifting weights and so forth and do my own workout. I was like, wow. And then once I got to home and started working from home, I was down to about 6,000 or 7,000 steps. So it was a big adjustment just for that, for my whole body to be not moving as much, to be more sedentary. Then it was not going into work. Physically seeing people face to face, just being kind of in front of the screen. So that the time to adapt to that was about 3 or 4 months. To get used to that. I was a little bit grumpy.
Well, you've done well, actually, 3 to 4 months.
So thank you. So that to adapt to that was a bit of a challenge, and you can't really prepare yourself for it. Nobody really sets you up for it either. So and my wife Laura, she's kind of experiencing that at the moment as well, because she was always out and about with her work, and now she's working on the business. Because
you guys work on the business together.
Which is fantastic.
That is fantastic.
It's so cool to be able to have, you know, my best friend and my partner in life to be able to back me up, because she picks up my weaknesses and I pick up hers, and then we build on each other's strengths, and it's so cool. It's different again, but we've got our own spaces in the house where we can work, and then we come together, you know, a couple of times during the day to discuss things and what we need to do. So we're refining our workspace, refining how our days are set up, so forth and so on, and then we'll get more productive as we go through. But it's exciting.
Awesome. It's really good. Now, I've experienced working with my queen in business, and it does have its moments. We work separately in our own businesses now, even though we work in the same realm. And when we come together, it's just for little collaborations and stuff. But what are some of the things, like, you've been with Laura for how long?
We're 12 years now.
12 years.
13 years.
Awesome. That's awesome. And is this the first time you've worked in business together, or you were working in business? So you've not only transitioned to online, you've transitioned into this working together.
Massive lifestyle change. Massive lifestyle change. So coming from the busy city and then working our way up the coast here to a quieter environment was something we've been looking at doing for a long time. And COVID enabled that to happen. So
the Rona.
The Rona. So, but you know, taking positives out of a bad situation, and that was the positive for us, is that it forced us to go, you know what, we're done here. That's it. We're going to commit to what we said we were going to do. We've put it out there in the universe. It's swinging back around and hitting us in the face really quickly. So let's jump on that energy and then ride it straight up. And trust that we're doing the right thing. And, you know, our son was young enough. He's only 2 or 3 at the time. So we were able to pick him up and then just take him and make the move. So it's a big transition, but we're happy we did it, because we're honoring our truth and what we want to do in life, you know what I mean? And build the lifestyle that we want, not ultimately what or they say you should be doing.
Exactly. And I know personally, because I know you guys personally, but what have you noticed from taking that leap of faith when, say, the Rona stuff went down and all that? Whatever you believe about that, a lot of people were just waiting to see what happened. You guys are like, maybe this is an opportunity. Can you speak to that a little bit more, like the courage it took to be able to go, nah, actually, we really want to do this, like, stuff's going on in the world, but we want to go. Did that bring up a lot of stuff for you guys? Was that a tough period, or?
Well, no, it was pretty, like, we just, because we talked about it and discussed it, it was something that we wanted to do. We were both 100% clear on what we wanted together. And there was no questions. There was no, you know, oh, what if, but then we might be, you know, not so secure. And what about our finances? What are we going to do for work? You know, so forth and so on. We just knew that we needed change, and we were 100% committed to that, both of us. And that made the decision a lot easier to go, snap, that's it. You know, we've got 7 weeks to get out of the current house that we were in. This is it, we're going.
Yeah.
Let's let all the family know. Let's wind up the business. Let's wind up.
Let's go and
let's just go.
Have faith.
And so it was just, that was it. Whereas if I was 80% and she was 100%, there would have been a different situation. You know what I mean? Because there would have been negative and positive forces pulling against each other. So for us, it was pretty straightforward. It was nerve-wracking and like, shit, are we going to do it? Yep, we're doing it. Let's just jump in.
So how long ago was that you moved?
It's coming up a year, I think.
Would you say it was a rewarding decision to move?
The best thing we've ever done.
There's a powerful thing why I wanted to ask the listeners and viewers in here, when a lot of the world is like, oh my God, it's chaos, it's this, we can't back ourselves because we're restricted, we're whatever's going on. Yeah. You guys are just going, no, we're on board. We're both on board with this. And sometimes you're not 100%, but you get to that point, you're like, let's do this. Yeah. You've backed yourself and you backed yourself. Now you're saying it's the best thing you've ever done. Yeah. There's a lot people can take from that, definitely. And I get how that works. I absolutely get how that works, where you have that faith, where alignment, this is what we're doing. We're trusting. Let's do it no matter what challenges arise. And I bet it hasn't all been like unicorns and rainbows either.
No, not at all. We had our challenges along the way, but Laura and I believe firmly that life, you get one shot. Everybody knows that. So take the risks. Yeah. You know, bear the burden if it doesn't work out. Like
learn the lessons.
Learn your lessons, because either way, it's the way you look at it. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't work out, you've learned lessons, and then you can go again. You know, trial, fail, learn, you know, so forth and so on. So life's about taking risks. If you want to sit in your lane and just stay where you are and keep, you know, kind of whinging about your situation, then that's where you're at. That's cool. But Laura and I don't see life that way. We see is that we've got to take the plunge, and we've got to put ourselves out there and to get what we want. We do. You do. 100%. You do.
I think that's why we all get along so well too. We do. We've got a great community here of amazing people, and how we've all sort of come together, especially in the last couple of years, just because we do see life that way. It's like, okay, cool. Let's take that leap of faith. Like that's something we desire or a path we want to take.
Risk reward.
Risk reward. We understand that we're going to get some challenges, and generally the challenges are shit we've got to let go of, really. Conversations we've got to maybe have, and things, material things that maybe aren't aligned, but when we actually let go of them and really trust, we will get rewarded.
And it's funny that, you know, you speak to friends and family, and some of them are like, oh man, that's really, you're going to quit your jobs, everything, and you're just going to go? Are you scared? Aren't you worried? And it's like, no, we just trust. Trust that it's right. Because I've got my best mate there 100% with me the whole way, and we just know that and it was deep inside too. You know what I mean? It wasn't just, oh, let's just go shit and we'll work it out. It was like, we feel that this is the right move for us. And then after having gotten settled, you know, we now know that was worth it.
So to do that, and the business to transition online, you've got all these transitions going on right now, and it's massive growth. And you clearly value growth too.
100%.
100%. And you would probably understand and know too that working with people, be it face-to-face, online, you value growth. You've got to, because we've got to practice what we preach.
Exactly right.
Energetically, it's one of the most important things. Like, we can come on here and talk about what we do and everything like that, but the growth aspect, unless you're growing, like, none of your clientele are going to grow. None of the people who are coming in, it's not going to evolve. Your business isn't going to grow. And I think that's one of the biggest things too. I can see you guys really taking off online. I really can.
So definitely. We can see the vision.
Absolutely. And you've done the work around it too. What have you found so far in the online space? I've been in the online space for about 7 or 8 years now. And I've had many, many ups and downs and wins, and I've been 100% aligned, had business success, and then it all fell apart, and then we've restructured and redone things and all that. How are you finding, what are you finding is maybe some of the challenges right now in online compared to maybe face-to-face?
I'd say streamlining your systems. And making sure they're in place, so you've got more time to be moving the money needle, I suppose. You're working on things that actually bring the income in, rather than, you know, you're working either in your business or on your business. So I definitely we're learning that some systems work, some don't. So setting them up and getting them streamlined is a challenge. Definitely every day, to make sure that, you know, things are running smoothly. Dealing with the no's.
I love
a lot more no's.
And
because people are so skeptical in the online space, you know, I'm having to adapt to that. Right. So it's not that it's overly detrimental, but some mornings you wake up and go, okay, come on, you know, you got to pull yourself out of out of that kind of, oh man, I didn't get anywhere yesterday. How's today going to go kind of thing. So staying connected to my goals and connected to my purpose daily, making sure that I've got those habits in place in order to be able to do that is definitely a big key to be able to stay motivated for the online space. But again, it's how you look at it. And if I'm learning and I'm kind of on that edge between not knowing what to do and kind of knowing what to do, I'm constantly motivated.
Yeah, 100%. I love that too. The no's, handling the no's is like the no's always bringing it closer to yes. I love sales. I really do. We were talking just before about like if I do in person, I can close at like 90-95%.
On the same.
It's easy. There's rapport and everything now. But when it comes to online, I've had to deal with a lot of that. I know early on, my first coach, I had lists and lists of people who were reaching out, and I was reaching out. I was doing cold calls. I was doing all the things. I was getting so many no's, blocks, all that sort of stuff. And I was taking so much of it personally because I'd only just started my growth journey. I'm like, and it was so hard. But for me, it was like this initiation into the space, and that has set me up so well now. Where it's it gave me the lessons really, really early on that the no's are okay, cool,
and it bulletproofs you. I think you get a thicker skin. You know, of a rhino almost, or an elephant. So it's like it's a no for now. And that's fine. Let's keep in contact.
100%.
So I just know that they're not in that space to be able to accept what we have to offer at this point, or they don't have enough proof, or whatever it's going to be for them. That's fine, and that's a learning curve for me.
100%.
So I take a no as like a no for now, and it's positive to keep them. And they all say, can I keep you on our weekly newsletter, which gives you free information to be able to help you back
more value.
Yourself. And they're like, exactly right. And they're like, of course, 100%. So at this point, every no is not a no, it's just a maybe until they're ready.
Exactly, because it's a trust and rapport game, and what there isn't on social media, most social media, you got to build a relationship. And sometimes that relationship, I know I've got people reaching out to me recently who've been following me for 7 or 8 years, and they've finally built the trust through the online to actually reach out and talk. It doesn't mean they're going to buy something or anything like that. And I think for a lot of new people into the space, it's really good to hear that, that you're still getting that growth through this period, but you're like, okay, connected into my mission and purpose. This is my driver. I'll keep at this because I know this is just what part of the journey I'm on to work through.
And the reassuring thing is that many people, including a mentor that I've got at the moment as well, has said, Dan, that this is needed, regardless of how many hurdles you have to overcome. And whatever it is that you have to overcome, this will work. It will work. You've just got to stick at it. And I know that deep down inside, the world needs this. Or at least Australia to start with.
100%.
And to be able to give the power back to people to take ownership of their own injuries is huge. It really, massive, really is, because we're getting so separated and more individualized and more kind of in our own worlds with technology these days. I think we need to be able to then also give people that power back to be able to do it for themselves. 100%.
Yeah, we only get one physical experience. Like you were saying before, in a different context, we only get one life. We're going to go for it. It's like we only get one body. And if you're not going to honor that body now, and you're going to let it go into dysfunction or breakdown and all this, and you think that's your natural way of being, are you really going to live a happy and fulfilling life? I mean, how are you going to be there for your kids, for your family, for your business? You're not. And a lot of people I know listening and watching, I've had clients recently, they've got back stuff and that going on, and they're in their 30s. And unless they're resourceful like you to do something about it, that's going to become their natural life. Well, I've just got a bad back,
and they'll just accept it,
and it becomes their story, and it becomes their identity. And it's fucking sad. It really is, because I know you and I, you've just turned 43. I've just turned 44. We're probably, I know I'm probably the fittest and the healthiest I've ever been in my life. And the older I get, the more I prioritize my body. Not just prioritize my training, no, my body, the connection with my body.
It's a lot more than the physical. The mental is probably the
mental, emotional, the whole lot that comes with it. I know the results I'm getting now, how my body responds, is so much better. I'll give an example of how my body responds now when I go and I push myself when I train. Like, I love running. I love running just shorts and all that sort of stuff. Like I had a goal recently of a 4-minute mile. Now that's flying. Now flying, I was talking to a former champion AFL footballer, Shane Crawford, the other week in the gym. He goes, that's a bit hardcore, man. He's like doing the numbers. He goes,
how old are you?
Why do you want to push that goal? Why do you want to do that? I'm like, I know it's probably outside my reach, but
Yeah.
it's something that I'm connected to, and I'm going to push myself to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And then sort of them goals like drive me in that. But the way my body's responded, the fastest I've got is like 5 minutes 15, which is for me, it's like flying.
Yeah.
I can't go any faster on the treadmill
Yeah,
or
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
But without that connection with my body to say, hey, my body's responding really well when I push it, when I work hard, I've never had that.
Yeah, right.
And the more I connect to my body, I have that. What do you find with your own journey? The more you've built this connection with your body, the more you've applied the things and been resourceful in that. Do you test yourself now with your body to see how it performs at all?
100%. You have to.
Yep.
So I'm currently building a small gym inside my garage at the moment, so it's coming along. But in the meantime, I've kept my training up, but I'm always trying to push myself to do either movements that I haven't been able to do before, or hit targets with, whether it's going to be a little bit of weight to lose, whether it's going to be muscle to build, so forth and so on. But I challenge myself in the way of not only turning up is the biggest thing, what I mean, and not missing a session. That's a challenge in itself. But challenging myself in kind of, how mentally I can push myself when I don't feel like doing it. And that's the biggest part. It's the time when you don't feel like doing it the most that you get the most benefit when you do get stuck into the workout itself. And I know in my body when I'm just cruising, and then when I'm actually setting like targets for myself to be able to get to as well, whether it be reps, whether it be weight, so forth and so on. There's always little targets that I'm setting for myself through each workout to be able to hit as well. And of course there's going to be distractions. I've got a 4-year-old boy and all that sort of stuff as well.
Young Quinn. He's friends with my young bloke. And...
They're good boys, but he likes to sit in there and talk to me while I, the whole way through my workout, which can be a little bit distracting.
I get that too.
But definitely challenging myself in small little areas, 1%ers all the time.
It's a good point you bring up. The 1%ers. Recent podcast I did with current Masters boxing champion in multiple weight divisions, Jimmy Luppo. Please check that out, guys. He talks about the 1%ers. His coaches, everything. The reason he keeps keeping on and keeps achieving and accomplishing is these 1%ers. The 1%ers leaning into the resistance when you don't feel like doing something. And something to clarify with people out there is a lot of unhealthiness around like men like overworking and doing or people are generally really, and it plays on the body. But there's a difference between overdoing things and leaning into the resistance and doing the 1% a little bit more.
That's it.
And for you, when you say like doing the 1% when you don't feel like it, what's an example when you mightn't feel like it? You might be like, I want to put my feet up, or
you might have had, I might have gone out for dinner the night before and had a 6-course meal or something. You know what I mean? and had a couple of glasses of wine, and then you wake up the next morning at 6 and go, you know what I mean? Like I really don't feel like I'm still digesting, so forth. So that's an example there. Or I've had a couple of very long days, whether it be working and family combined, and then you feel like you're kind of on that, I've got a bit of fatigue sitting in here, my body's telling me that, but I'll still turn up, but I won't go as hard, obviously,
but I'll still turn up. That's the 1%.
And I think getting really comfortable with the boredom of doing the repetitions is where people excel. No matter what, you're turning up, but you're comfortable with being bored doing the stuff over and over again to get that 1%. Is where I think people really stand out from the rest of the pack. Because they get comfortable with the boring stuff. And they keep doing it. Keep going. They show up. You ask any Olympic athlete, they'll say
Olympic athletes. Is it David Goggin? I've been watching a bit of his stuff. The ultra marathon.
The ultra marathon.
The same thing. It's the same thing. That constant repetition, and that might people mightn't want that. But if you want results in your life, especially when it comes to your health and your body and everything, you've actually got to put in the 1%ers, and it is not just a one-off.
No,
it's not a quick fix.
No, there's not a quick fix.
One of the things that I do giggle a bit without judgment when some people come to me if I get on a call and they're like, they want to fix their problems, whatever it is. Sometimes it's physical and it's health, or whether it's trauma stuff and that, and they're like, I'll just pay for a couple of sessions. I'm like, do you think you're 49 years old, that all this build up of stuff over the 49 years you've been alive, we do 2 sessions, it's all gone? Oh, yeah. Well, if you believe that, I'm not going to mess with your beliefs, but a lot of the time, if it's playing out in our back and things like that, it's probably the constant repetition of doing things that are out of alignment or ignoring things.
You nailed it. So majority of injuries that people have, or physical injuries that is within their body, comes from just poor movement, repeated time and time and time and time and time again until something goes.
Yeah.
So that's something that people need to be aware of when they go, oh no, I didn't do anything to it. It just happened all of a sudden. Well, it didn't actually happen all of a sudden. It's been compounding for a long time.
Yeah.
So the people have to understand that injuries do come about physically that way from doing the wrong thing over and over and over.
And that's what I see with the solutions to these things. I'm okay with it's like, okay, cool. This is how I've been functioning my whole way of life. Let's talk about functionality of body or something like that. Like I've got like one leg shorter than the other. Didn't find out till I was 30.
Yeah, right.
As soon as I found that out, it's like my whole life I've been running lopsided. I've been getting neck problems, shoulder problems, hip problems, and da. So I'm like, okay, if that's been going on in my life, I'm okay to be patient. This is probably going to take a while to start to reprogram my body, recondition my body to move a bit differently. I'm still on that journey now, 13 years later. There's still little bits of nuances, but I'm okay with that because I understand. But a lot of people, it's like when they hear things, it's like, oh, the solution might take a while to implement and be repetitive with, and then they'll be like, oh. What would you do if someone's like that and you feel like that? I know the answer to this, but you're the guest. What would you feel like the main driver would be for them to go, okay, I actually really, really want this to change. This pain's been here long enough. Or what do you think might be? Yep.
It's support. It's having somebody in your corner that's been through it.
Yep.
And has the understanding of what to do. In order to be able to accomplish or achieve the goal.
And they need to know and understand that.
They need to know and understand that. But I think, again, going back to technology, it's making us more sedentary and lazier, making things easier for us to do. It's not a good thing because people are then relying on it or, this mindset that everything can be fixed really, really quickly. Like we said, no quick fix. There's no quick fix. You have to take ownership of it. You know what I mean? And part of that's what we're trying to do, obviously, with our back care program. And
you guys are doing, and like what you said all along, it is needed, and you've got the people around you to remind you that when maybe things are a bit more challenging or you're getting a bunch of no's or anything like that, or it's like things that are different in online, and that to keep you going. It sort of brings me to a question I ask all the guests. A great reason I had you on the podcast is because I believe it is a huge thing that there is a major, it's like an epidemic problem. It's a real pandemic, if you want.
It is. It's a big problem.
It is a huge problem, and it's at the core of like your mission, your purpose. So when you hear Wildman Revolution, I feel what you're doing, your solutions and everything, that's like part of that. When you hear Wildman Revolution, Bud, what comes up for you?
When I hear Wildman Revolution, I think immediately of men coming to a safe space to be able to share and be vulnerable.
Yeah, awesome.
That's what it says to me. Even though the words itself might think that you're heading out into the bush and doing a whole lot of different stuff. But that's Steve. That comes from you, and that works well. It suits you to a T, and your mission as well. But I see it as a safe space for men to come together and to be able to share and be a little bit more vulnerable, which is okay, by the way, guys. It's all right to be vulnerable as men, because we don't really have any clue emotionally.
We haven't been taught it. It was definitely not in school, and the way society functions and the way we've been programmed is actually to switch off.
And I'm open to that. I think it comes back to the acting again, because we got put into certain situations that are really confronting in front of people that you're only just getting to know, you know what I mean, in this classroom every day for 3 years, 4 years. And so, I think,
I like that. I like that. Cool. You got a big mission. You got a big purpose. Another question I generally ask the guests is like, the world's a bit chaotic right now, but you see there's a lot of problems out there. Again, you've got solutions for a lot of them problems. Where do you see the world in 12 months from now?
Ooh, wow, that's a big question. I see the whole world itself.
Australia, the world, New Zealand, whatever you want to.
I feel like I don't feel like the world's going in the right direction, that's for sure. I do feel like there's change on the horizon though. I think there's a lot more people that are becoming awake to their environment and their situation and what's happening within the world as well, to I think the world's going to be in a place where a lot more people hopefully will I like to think that this is where the world will be going in 12 months time, is that they're taking obviously more ownership and not relying so much on the system itself. And that's for everything in life. So I think in 12 months time, we're going to see more people standing up and going, you know what, I'm going to start taking, you know, ownership of my life and everything involved with it. With it,
cool.
To be able to get what I want to get.
How cool would society be if people took that level of responsibility and ownership?
Even 2-3% would be a huge change, a huge shift in the world, because we're not
100%
heading in the right direction at the moment.
12 months from now, the world's like that. More people are taking responsibility. What's your role 12 months from now in that? How do you see your role?
Educate. Educate as many people as I can within, you know, what I know and what I can coach, to be able to do that. And you know, it's not just, we're not just about fixing them back. You know, we're about making lifestyle changes, looking at your nutrition, your hydration, your sleep, movement, like I mentioned before, and seeing how we can improve, again, the 1-2%ers. And that means people are actually going, well, hold on a minute, now I am actually going to take the bull by the horns and take control.
Awesome. I love that. With that too, generally what people do, they'll really go into something when they've got a result really quick. When they feel something shift or change, what I've noticed, and this is why one of my intentions when someone gets on a call with me, whether it's a consult call or not, it's like, give them a shift, give them a change, give them something to feel and notice, and they'll be like, oh, there's something in this. You notice that too?
Definitely notice that. They feel that slight change. Even with a client that we've started about a month ago now, he was able to release 3 or 4 kilos within that month and keep the weight off, and you just noticed a big shift with him, because he's working with myself but also 3 other coaches
awesome
on my team.
He's having a crack then.
So he's got a developmental coach with NLP training, and she helps him with the emotional trauma, because he's got some trauma that he's had, car accidents and different stuff in his life as well. So we've noticed, as a group, we've noticed a shift in him that's created this motivation for him to push and go harder.
That's awesome.
So
awesome. I want to shift gears a little bit. Usually I'll close with that, but I want to go into dad life for a bit. I saw you share pictures the other day. So you brought a smile to your face straight away. Pictures the other day, young Quinn's birthday. Saw a bunch of pictures up there. He's like this tiny little human. Like it's freaky as, isn't it? Well, how did that change your life, becoming a dad?
Well, it's making you know, your journey bigger than just you. That was the biggest thing. It's like, hold on a minute. Now I've got an actual human that's completely reliant on me. You know what I mean? Not just your partner that, you know, relies on you for a few things here and there, day to day, but like this person is completely reliant on you. So it just shifted my whole thought process and energy. And I knew it was coming, but you can't prepare yourself for it, because it's intrinsically, it's in there. You know what I mean? And then it just, as soon as that, you know it's your little boy, something happens inside. I can't explain it. It's like love. You can't explain it, right?
I couldn't explain it here. What I explain it, the way I look at, like when I found out she was pregnant, for me, it brought up a lot of stuff, because it's like I was preparing. I'm like, oh wow, this is a new level of responsibility in 9 months from now. And it was a tough journey with that, because so much stuff come up around my past, my upbringing, all that sort of thing, plus working with healing and all that sort of thing. But when he was born, the way our life changed, it was amazing. I can't describe the feeling or anything, but you couldn't buy what came next in a course to prepare you. There was no program, no coach, no nothing. And there will never be, which I'm okay with, which it was something that life presented to me anyway. That was like, you got big growth to happen through this. And it's been the most rewarding thing in my life. Have you felt the same?
Massively rewarding. And I think it's all about, you know, in this day and age, people can talk to you about having children in such a more of a negative way, you know, oh, wait till this happens, and oh, look out for that.
I don't have any of them people left in my life.
Me neither, but you know, I think it's all about your mindset, and that growth mindset, as in, I'm growing with this child, and you've got to be teachable in this life too, I believe, you know, no matter what age. And if he's 6 months and he's teaching you something new about yourself, fantastic, you got to be open to that. So being in that growth mindset and not that fixed mindset of what, you know, everybody tells you it's going to be like, I think can give you a better perspective on how to raise your kids as well, and enjoy the journey.
100%.
Rather than thinking of it as a chore and it's a pain in the ass. And yes, you get those feelings from time to time, but if you can actually sit back and take yourself, on a bird's eye view of you and your child playing together, you can really appreciate how special and cool that is to be in your inner child. You know what I mean? And just enjoy it.
That's the key.
Because that inner child is the most playful part of us, and to be able to access that, that's what a child can bring for you. So
I love that. I always say River's been my greatest teacher, and it's been that too. Like, it doesn't matter what's gone on through the day, if I've had shit time in business or a bunch of clients who have been really hard to hold space for and all that sort of stuff, or Chi and I got some stuff going on, just that moment with River, he's a funny little fucker and he's got a lot of energy. You just be present to that, and it's sort of like you tap into your own inner child or the reflection, and it's like everything else doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You're able to tune in and I know a lot of people avoid that because they have got a stressful life. And I feel a lot of the conditioning you might talk about from other people going, oh, get ready for this, or you haven't experienced this, or wait till they do this, or any of that sort of stuff. If you keep that out of our environment, where we're sort of stopping that passing down, like to them,
then you're in that growth mindset.
Then you are in that. You're not got these distortions and stuff like that.
And being present, and especially it's in the harder moments as well, where sometimes you're getting annoyed, but it's actually your shit that you're getting because you might have something to do, and you're like, I've got to get to that. Okay, I've got to get you down. Let's go to sleep. And you're trying to rush things where you can't actually then be present and in the moment with that child of yours to go, you know what, he's actually needing a bit more time, or she's needing a bit more of my time right now. I'm going to give that to you, no matter what I've got next. It doesn't matter.
Do you find, I find for me, that's super healing too. If I can hold space in that time, because I've got a lot of energy come up sometimes, I'm like, fuck, River, he's got heaps of energy. He just wants to play or wants to read a story or wants to go for
you're not there.
Wants to go for a walk at 9:30 at night or some shit. And I'm not there, but being able to hold that and just be patient and everything like that, I find that brings up a lot of emotion for me sometimes, and it's really, really powerful.
It's sorry, I didn't interrupt you. It's the same as not wanting to do that workout and then going and doing it.
100%.
It's the same. I see it as this kind of similar concept. It's like, oh, I don't want to go through this. Come on, hurry up, let's go. Whereas I just sit in it and just relax. It actually becomes a great experience.
I feel with what we're doing, like as fathers, like as parents or anything like that, preparing them for what's coming next on the planet, because there's so much uncertainty and unknown. But us being like that is going to hold them in such good stead.
Yes.
Because I think the more joy, the more play that they have while they're young, the more they can see us and feel us in that. They're going to bring that to life as they grow up. And with all the other whatever fuck's going on and all that sort of stuff, they're just not going to be available for a lot of the rubbish. They're going to be strong. They're going to be like, well, I've been brought up in a place of love and joy and expansion and growth and nurture. I want that to be my world. And that's a big part of my mission and my purpose. Although Wildman Revolution is at the center, just like you with the with Prism Performance and helping people with the rehab and everything like that. But being a father, like,
it's fantastic.
It's the best.
It is the best. And if you've got the right mindset for it, you'll just enjoy it. You really, really will.
This has been awesome, man.
It's been great, mate. I've really enjoyed it.
To close, if you were to give a message to the people of the world out there that you're here to help, even if they don't know it yet, what would you say to them right now?
I would say, please be open to learning more about yourself. Which means that you're open to bringing new things into your life, and you're open to new experiences as well. Because I think we lose sight of being able to continuously educate ourselves. We think once we finish school, that's it, but it's not. And I think people get a little bit closed-minded. So I think for the people that I'm talking to out there, I would say to you, be more open-minded as to how you can take more ownership of your life.
Epic. Where can people find you, man?
They can find us at www.prismperformance.fitness. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Dan Henderson on Facebook. That's where you can
Cool.
find us. And
I'll
just
throw
jump
all
in.
the links down below, guys. Please check it out. Please get in touch with this man. If you're going to get in touch with this man, you heard his message to you out there. Take ownership and responsibility. He's definitely in his genius zone, knows more than enough about what he's doing to be able to help people, help many people. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, man.
Thank
Especially
you.
the mic setup we had to do at the start and everything we had to get ready. We were fluid through this. We learned and we grew through this. So thank you, brother. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Wildman Revolution podcast.
Thanks, buddy.